Can we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we have another one example? Anjita, I'm not able to get that.
Parent and child. You're asking about the communication or how the components are
Child to parent. Yes. Yes, Ranjit. Child to parent. Last time we did it with cities and all, right? Cities name calling. So can we have some other example? One example for the same.
You're asking the component composing, right? Parent and child.
Yes.
Which components
Yes.
consists
Yes.
parent?
Yes. Yes, Ranjit.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to show the demo. Instead, I walk through the content because the demo is all going to be same. What I'm going to explain. Let's see.
Okay.
Markup language. If you take XML or HTML, everything you take, we have it's a tag-based language, right? We have a tag, the outer tag, and tag as a closing tag, right? Then you'll have the tag nested. So nested tag will be considered as a child tag like this. So composing the component. For example, we created a page, something like this. Then you can see like there is a component, outer top component, and we have a component inside, and we have a button inside, which means the outer component is a parent, the button component is a child. So if you see this is a structure, you will see we have a template, and then inside the template we have a component called to-do wrapper. So so if you see here, the to-do wrapper, a to-do wrapper is a kind of a child component, and template is considered as a parent component, right? So there are also two other terms are involved, like a owner and container. So what is owner? Owner is the component that owns a template. Suppose these are the whole the first page, HTML page to the app. So this is the owner. Okay, and see to the app is the owner that controls all the components composed inside. So container is the component, to the wrapper is a container component. So why it is called container? You see, like there is outer tag, there is a tag close by C /C to the wrapper, inside which we have another component. Normally, what we'll do, we'll have some content, then we'll have a component. But here, the content itself for this component is to-do item. So to-do item is called. So this to-do wrapper is called container in this case, right? And parent-child relationship. You see here, parent-child relationship. the parent component contains a child. A child component, a parent component can be a owner or container, which means here we have two parent. To-do app is a parent to to-do wrapper, and to-do wrapper is a parent to to-do item. So that's how the parent-child relationship is established. Nothing but parent-child composing is established. Nothing but there is outer tag. You'll have an inner tag. That's it. This is what you are expecting, Muthu, or something else? I couldn't get it. I don't know how far.
Yeah, that's what. And I tried that cities one. What we did it. During that time, I got some confusions. That's why I thought of checking with you.
Because it might be very familiar to you all. But, I'm connecting from different location. I'm not using my system. Okay, so I got the system from someone. Let's give it time. Right. This is array. Yes. And this component component. I have a contact variable here, property here. This property I am rendering here like this. Like this. So contact list is a separate component, and contact line item is another component. There are two components. Okay, now this the iterating logic, iterating tag, like a template for each, we have in the contact list, because that's what we have, right? So here we have a contacts. That's how we have or item, that. So, okay. So normally, in order to render each contact here, what we'll do, you'll have a some tag here, you have a key here. Suppose if you have ID here, like this, then if a for item for each for item equal to C, then we are going to have C. Isn't it? So this is how we iterate the component. Suppose I would like to break this component into a smaller components. I would like to break this component into smaller components. What is the advantage of breaking the a component into a small components to increase the reusability, isn't it? Because this usage is restricted. It is can only be used to iterate the component. That's it. No other. Wherever you render the list of contact, you can include this. You can call this component. But this, in order to increase the reusability, you break this component as small components. So what we are going to do, I'm going to break this component, and so the logic, rendering logic, rendering the one individual contact, I'm going to handle here. So this component, wherever you have one contact, rendering one contact, of course, contact line item can be called. Okay, so what we do now, the contact line item, it's already having this property, right? So contact line item, just transferring here. Not be syntax wise may have some issue because I'm doing it in Notepad. Do this, what will happen? This will be replaced with this part of the code, right? Earlier we had a braces C, isn't it? We have a braces C earlier. Just including a commenting line here to explain you. So this is being replaced by this, because this whole thing will be replaced by a contact. But how do you? So this parent to child relationship, this is where we stop. We can we can understand here, right? So this just replacing the this part with another component. That's it. Parent to child communication is different. So now if you see, we have a outer parent child. The child is closed here. So this is the closing tag for this. Should be at the same level. You cannot close this tag here. Right? Can't close like this. Don't work. So you have to close at the same level. Hope you understand. So this is what called parent to child relationship. So we have a parent template, the owner, we have a child, right? And this also having another tag. So now the paragraph is a child tag to this for each template tag. And this is also called container because the open and close tag is enclosing another tag. The open and close tag enclosing another tag, which is nothing but paragraph. So this become a container, right? You know, when in what scenario you'll name the tag as a container, isn't it? So and then we have a parent. Again, this C hyphen contact line item became a child to this. So this is nothing but a parent-child relationship. If we have another tag here, for example, there's a division. Now these two are not the parent-child relationship. You get my point? Now this division and the for each template is not in parent-child relationship. Then how do you call that? Any idea? Idea? How do you call this? This is called siblings. Siblings, right? Siblings. There's like a parallel tag. The tag at the same level. This right? Because this is cannot be in any type of parent-child relationship with the for each template. But division is a child to the outer owner template, and H1 is a child to division. You get it? You got it? Parent-child relationship. Parent-child nesting. It's not relationship. Parent-child nesting, composing. Parent-child communication is different. That is what we discussed yesterday. Parent-child communication. For example, here, this call statement will replace, will be resolved to braces contact. But how the contact will receive the value? We have to refer that property here. This property is private to this class. Then how do you expose that property outside this class? We decorate this property with what decorator will use? RTAPI, isn't it? RTAPI. Then contact equal to, you can pass any value here. Suppose I pass here Kiran, something like this. It is always going to be Kiran only, right? Okay, but here we're going to pass this. That's it. Every time we take one contact, which means Ranjit the first time, and C equal to Ranjit, and C will be that value will be assigned to the API property, and that will be rendered. That is how the parent-child communication is.
Okay, and here the contact line item is child or parent.
Which one?
Here you said right, contact list and contact line item, two components are there, right? Which one is parent and which one is child? Contact line item is the parent. Right?
No, contact list is the parent. Contact list. This is what? See,
passing the values.
Nested. Yeah, contact line item is nested, Muthu, nested inside the contact list.
Okay.
No.
So we are passing the values from contact list to contact line item, correct?
Correct. From parent to child.
Okay, I thought we are calling the parent from child. Okay.
No. We can't call like that. It's possible, but we don't do. This is something just passing the value. That's all. Communication from parent to child, because the iteration will run. Iteration will run in the clockwise, right? You take the value, assign to C, then earlier it was resolved here like this. Then again, the loop will go for each loop. It will go in a clockwise and take the value and go inside. Now we have this. Same thing, right? So now this became a child because it's nested inside the, so the outer one is always child, right? It's something like this only. Put a Venn diagram, you'll see I have a circle, outer circle, and inner circle. The inner circle is always a child, no? Because it's a smaller one. The other one is nested. The other one is surrounded. So black one is the parent. This one is a child. If you nested anything else inside, then the blue one is a child to orange, and orange is a child to black, and black is the parent, and orange is the parent to blue. That is how you have to understand the relationship,
Okay.
isn't it? So black is something like your contact list, and the orange one is something like your contact line item. If you have another circle here, for example,
Sibling.
yeah, it's considered a sibling. Yes, the yellow and orange is a sibling. Like we have here division. Division is sibling to it's at the same level. There is no nested. At the same level. So this is it's a tag composing. That's it. It's something nothing more anything complex than this. Just nesting the component. That's all. Outer tag, inner tag. Outer tag became a parent. Inner tag became a child. That's it. And so parent to child communication, we know, exposing the property as a public property with help of decorator at API in the child component. Remember, when you um, uh, realize this, when you explain this, uh, how will you, how can I pass value from parent to child? So how do you explain this? Exposing the a property in the child as a public with help of ART API, and from the parent you pass the value to that ART API property. That's it. That's simple. You get it. You get it, all of you. So the important point here is, for example, Sugandhi, you are preparing for LWC. You may appear for interview. Maybe Muthu, you appear for any senior level position, and you like to, sometimes may need to explain how to parent-child relationship establish. So you understand it. You understand it. You already gone through the example. The property is a AT API, and we nested inside. But what is a way of explaining it properly? That is very important, right? How do you communicate that? So remember, this video is recorded anyway. How to establish parent-to-child relationship? Communicate. Child relationship. And the child, really, close the any way you explain it, that's okay. As far as you understand, okay. Spelling, annotation. I'm sorry. Right. So either way, explain is right. That is parent and child. Okay. You know what is parent, which is child actually, right? And next we'll see the child to parent now. Yeah. So now the other way, the reverse direction. Okay. Both are in hierarchy only. The communication hierarchy, which means what? Goes in parent to child. The hierarchy, right? Child to child, right? That's nothing but hierarchy. Again, you child to parent. That's again hierarchy only, but the direction is different. Okay, so child to parent, which means, for example, it's my child component. I have a child class here. From here, I would like to pass value to the communicate something to parent. Okay, example, for example, I have a component, a parent component. I have a child component. Okay, parent and child. And now I have some button here, for example. I have a button in the child component, right? Say a submit button. User click on a submit button. User click on a submit button. Click on a submit button. I have a logic to run here, which means the JS of child, isn't it? This is my child component, child.html. I have a button here. On click of the button, I perform some logic. So on completion of this logic, some logic I'm executing here. So what I'm going to do from this logic, I'm going to communicate to parent. The parent say it's a blue component. I like to communicate to the component blue. Blue is nothing but a parent. And HTML. So far it's clear to all of you, able to follow? Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
So I have a button here. I have some sorry, but I don't want that. But no button. Sorry. There is a JS file for this parent also, right? We have a JS file for this parent also. Maybe I put the JS file like this, something like this here. So this is my JS of parent. So I have some logic here. This is my parent JS. I have some logic here, business logic. A method, for example, invoke JS. There is a method in my parent component called invoke JS. Now, how will you call this method normally? You can call from the parent. You may have a button here. You may have a something on click event, on change event, something I can call this method. But that's how you run this business logic. But now how I'm going to invoke this business logic. On click of the submit button, I'm going to fire an event, a dispatch an event, a fire an event or dispatch an event. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to dispatch an event, which means I'm, in this direction, child to parent. A child to parent, I'm going to fire an event. So event-based communication, this is also called event-based communication. So what I'm going to do, when I fire the event, the parent is going to listen to the event. In other words, the parent is going to handle that event. So handling means what? You can perform some logic. You can perform some logic. So from the parent, I'm going to call this. So see the direction, no? The communication you establish from child to parent, right? The communication established from child to parent, because the first initial action is invoked from child. You call this button, click on this button, execute the child logic, then you fire the event, and parent is handling, which means performing some logic. So the communication is clearly establishing from child to parent. You understand this now? The direction, child to parent. Earlier it was parent to child. Now it is child to parent. You get it, all of you? Is that clear? It's child to parent communication. How it is being established? The first step, you have to create an event. So the event can be of a different type. You know, event can be of default type. You know what is the default type events? Default type events. For example, when I when I preview any component, or when you load any pages, what event will occur in the life cycle? You know, LWC life cycle. The first event would occur is initialization event. The component is initialized, right? Initialization is happening, right? The component is initialized. When you refresh the component, what will happen? The render event will occur. These are all standard events. The standard events actually. Okay. In LWC lifecycle, we call them as init event, and we call them as render event, re-render event. If you again refresh the component, re-render event. These are all standard events. Okay. Similarly, we are going to create the custom event, which means our own event we are going to create. That is the first step you have to follow. Okay, so create a custom event. How do you create the custom event? Child or parent? Any idea? How do you create the custom event? Child or parent? Create the custom event. Child component, right? You're going to do this in child. You create the custom event, then you have to dispatch it or fire the event. Dispatch the event. Because event is created. You have to publish it, right? For example, in say in the YouTube, for example, YouTube, you upload the event, but you have to publish it, no? Nothing but dispatching. You upload some video. I'm not sorry, I'm not. I said like it's event, a video. When you upload the video in your channel, for example, then you have to make it public so that whoever subscribed, they get notification, isn't it? So here we create the custom event, but you should not stop with that. You create it, then you dispatch it. And who will handle that event? Anybody? Who will handle that event? The child is dispatch the event, and the parent can handle it. In other words, it's called listening. Listening the event or handle the event. Who is going to handle the event? Parent is going to handle it. How it's going to handle? How we are going to create and dispatch? We'll see. Okay, we'll see. I'll walk through in the notes here first. See here, we have a. Might confuse you. Let me create a component for you. create a component called parent comp.html. Okay, right? I create a current component called parent comp.html. I have some thing called tag here. Parent component. I'm going to create another component. Name it as child. Yeah. Now, a child component. I'm going to have a button and label. Say like create and dispatch. The button named as create and dispatch. It's on click event, right? On click, we're going to call a JS method. It does handle click. And then this. So there are two things I'm going to do. What is the first step? The first step in the child, create a
event, custom event.
Create a custom event. Create a custom event. So how we are going to create the custom event? Salesforce has given a constructor as a class. In other words, you can say it's a class. Salesforce has given a class, a standard class. What is the class name? What is the class name? Custom event. The class name is custom event. If you have the class, for example, I have a class child component. How will you create an instance for the class? How will you create an instance for the class? Normally in your Apex, the class name, variable name, a new keyword,
The class.
name. Yes, this is a constructor, right? Using this constructor, you create an instance of the class. You'll see here, the custom event is a class name. I am creating the instance with the help of new keyword. And the class, the constructor is a parameterized constructor, right? So they given a constructor with parameter. What parameter? You have to pass any string. That's nothing but the name of that event. When you create an event, you need to name that event, right? So give some name for the event. So I named that as a test. I named the event as test. So we need to get into some variable, right? So just it as EVT. One variable name given. So this is the first step. What next?
To dispatch.
Yeah, dispatch it, right? So dispatch the event. So only dispatch the event with the help of the method dispatch event. With the help of the method dispatch event, that again you'll pass this the variable, right? The whole thing. Either you can nested this in one sentence like this, dispatch dot so this dot dispatch event. One line also you can do like this, right? That's what you can see here in the tutorial. We did it in just one line. Okay, dispatching, create, dispatch, all in one line. So we do it in we're doing it in two lines actually. We're storing it in one variable and pass that in as an argument to dot this dot dispatch method, and you dispatch it. That's it. So on click of this button, the JS invoked, you dispatch it. Okay. So now we need to have some changes in your parent component. So this is not even established parent-child communication, right? I mean, composing, unless I include the child component. Let's say the child component, something like this, then we'll say it's a parent-child. It is not like I name the component as child component, it is a child to any other component. The way you nested, that decides whether the component is a child or parent, or it's a sibling to other component. The way you nested only decide that. It's not determined by the name of the component. For you to understand, for you to follow, I named this component as child component. Okay, don't be confused. All right, the way you nested, the way you composed, that decides whether that's a child component. So now this is a child component because, isn't it? This is a child to this. This is a child to this. In this example, in this template, the child this component is a child. Okay, now we already told, on click of this button, the JS will be called and the event is dispatched. So which component can handle it? Now the parent component is going to handle it. How it's going to handle it? Listen here, the important syntax. The name of the event you created, right? What is the name actually? Test. The name of event is test. So in the parent, I'm going to include a listener. Listener means what? The name of the event is test, right? Before the text, I'm going to include a word called on. Now, this is how the you handle or dispatch the event. Listen the event. So this is called listener. On test is a listener. Okay. So on test is a listener. What will happen automatically? This will be invoked. The keyword on prefix with the event name will automatically invoked. Where? In the parent, right? It is in parent only. So whatever code you have here, this is a parent. Right? The whole tag is a parent DOM, parent HTML page. So now I'm going to call, I can perform any logic in my parent. No, right? Anything is automatically invoked that may have a argument, isn't it? Event or any argument that can have one property, which means a parameter. Yeah. Now, let's put a console log to test it. And I hope from side. Listen this, all of you. This handle event is going to refer it. Make sense to all of you? Able to follow? The child clear? So the child, right? So when you do this, what will happen? The button will appear inside the lightning card. The button will appear inside the lightning card. And click of the button, this will be dispatched, and you'll see this. The console log should appear in your the console state. This command will appear in the console log. Okay. You all get it right, what I'm doing?
Yes. Ranjit, one question. The target should be set for the only child, right? Not the parent. Yes.
Sure.
For the parent, there is no target, right? As of now.
That's yeah, that's not mandatory. I added in case I reuse it somewhere. Target is necessary for required for parent. Yes. Not for the child. Absolutely. Yeah. So go to inspect, right? And this is from the child, isn't it? So when you click on this, the child will dispatch the event, and parent is listen that event. You get it right? So where this logic, the command is rendering from where? From the parent. How the parent method is invoked automatically because of listener. So how the listener syntax, the name of the event prefixed with on keyword. Where you will include that? That will include as part of your child tag, the kind of attribute.
Oh,
The
one
kind of
question
attribute
is,
you're going to add.
is on is a required to prefix for any event, right? Or only for this, or how it is? The syntax should be with on combination with the event name, right?
So no other. So the no other you know no other changes. Just it's the same everywhere. It's just going to be prefix the event name with on. So if you name the event as, for example, I name the event as on. What will do? You again have to add another on here. So that's the reason in the notes they are given. Don't name the event with on prefix.
Okay, understood.
Might confuse. So on is always
That may
just
confuse and it may not work as expected. We think
it
it is
will
on
work. It
already.
will work. I don't think so. It don't work. It may work. I never tried, but it worked. But it might confuse. So don't name the event as on because on is the keyword you're going to prefix with the in the event name.
Okay.
Clear? Yeah. Now the communication from child to parent is established, and you may also need to pass data. We are not passing data here. We have just established the communication. We perform some logic here. But how do you pass the data? Listen here. From here, there is two arguments, not just one. Optional. If you pass data, then you can go with the another argument in JSON format. So, you know, it's always we refer JSON format, right? We always consider JSON format basis and name value pair. Great, a name value pair. Like this. So the name is going to be detail. So it is standard. The name is the detail is standard. What data you are going to pass? That you are going to put here. Suppose I am going to pass a name, a string. I'm going to pass a string value. But what is the property name? Property name is always going to be detail. So this is the data I am passing from child. Okay. Now, where you will receive that data? Over here only, right? Because this is where I am having the handler. This is where I'm having the handler. So what I'm going to do? Where you will have the data after all? Where you will refer the data? In this property, in this argument, right? So even done, just have to go with detail. Okay. Instead of you, the same exactly same thing you will see here. And We give an example for the detail. There's some data they are passing, and they get the data using event dot detailed property. That's it. You get my point? So if you do this, you'll see the data is also. Okay, so let me try this. Then I deploy this. Right. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. This is not in this place. Okay. We'll create right two parameters. Is on the dispatch. It should be in the custom event part here. Yeah. This is here actually. Parameters, two parameters. The one is optional. When you pass data, then include this. Not in the dispatch. It's here. Dispatch is always having one argument. The custom event construct will have a two argument construct, two parameters construct, not just one, two. It should work now. You get it? You get it, all of you? It's clear?
Yes, Sanjay. So the detail is the standard naming convention, right?
Yeah, very standard. Yes, standard income.
It's not custom. Okay.
No, this is a standard one. You can't change that. It should always be detailed.
Okay.
So one question, it says dispatch only dispatch the data to the parent, right? No other user, right? Dispatch event or sending data to the parent.
To establish communication,
To establish communication to the children parent.
yeah, there are two ways we communicate between the components. One is based on the say browser event like on click, on double click, isn't it? And that's one of the standard browser event we communicate from one component to another, from HTML to JS. All communication established based on the JavaScript event. The other event, what automatically occurs when the component is loaded, the init event, when the component is refreshed, re-render event, render event. The other third one, we create the event. We create our own event. Like in Aura, you create an event file, isn't it? You create an event file by go to the developer console, lightning event, you create and name it, then you fire it. Same thing, you create the event, dispatch it. Any component can handle it, which the component which is nesting this component. So here I nested child component inside this parent component, child COMP. Okay, so dispatch it. So how we handle it? In the same tag, we have the event name prefix with on.
Thank you.
What is the LWC? Which case we had last time? Last one. 8, no?
8, I think.
We already had 8.
9 we should. I mean 8 are complete.
If user entered the name, user input as ecologic, okay, then you have to prefix that with welcome and display it in the here. You get my point, all of you? It's clear, right?
Yes, Ranjit. Ranjit, one quick question. So here we haven't used @ API, right? As we are using a
No.
custom event, it's not needed, correct?
No, not required, not required. This would be a lightning card, okay, and you'll have a you're going to display it. So this is another component, this is going to be a, how to nested, you decide. I'm not going to put anything here. So here we're going to check whether if say less than 5 years, then you're going to put a bonus is 10 percentage. If it is if otherwise, you put like else, make it simple. Bonus is 10 percentage bonus. Okay. Else you say 5 percentage. This is how you give the bonus, and you also get the salary here. Whatever approach, how do you store the data, whatever you decide, I'm not going to explain anything. So suppose example, okay, if user enter the in here Ram and experiences 4 years and salary is 10,000, for example, then you say okay, already bonus, okay, yes. So make it as the dollar, okay, make it as dollar, the dollar something like less than for 10%, right? So it's going to be right now. So this is how you're going to render the data here. So you decide which is a parent, which is a child, you compose it. I'm not going to explain anything. You decide. Fine. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, Ranjit.
Yeah. Four. Okay. 5 I had to put, right? Okay then. Notes are there. See you tomorrow then. Fine.
Sure. Thank you, Ranjit. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.